Hi, my name is Josh Boughton. You can follow me on Instagram at Disgruntled Vet 1620 or at DJSTYLZ920. Please follow Balance Veterans at Balance Veterans. Thank you so much for having me on Dro TV. Had a great time smoking with y'all and chilling out.
Welcome back to My First Time, the show where our guests get to tell their story of the first time they got high on marijuana. Today, I'd like to welcome our guest, Josh, the Disgruntled Vet. What's happening?
What's going on, man? How you doing? Thanks for bringing me on.
Yes, thanks for coming on Dro TV. You can find more of Josh on Instagram at the Disgruntled Vet 1620 and also DJ Styles 920. So, Josh, we met at the Florida Cannabis Festival a few weeks back and talked about getting together to do an episode and get into what you're doing here in Florida as an ambassador. So if you could tell our audience where you're located and a little bit about what you got going on.
Sure, absolutely. Excuse me for coughing there. So a little bit about Balance Veterans. Balance Veterans Network is a wellness focused lifestyle brand community and 501(c)(3) a nonprofit. You have to excuse me, I'm reading my notes here a little bit.
No
but nonprofit mission to create a safe space for the education, advocacy, and empowerment of all alternative therapies for veterans and their families. I mean, really, Western medicine has kind of failed, veterans like myself, who, became addicted to some pills, and used cannabis to get away from that. So I'm happy to be part of the Balance Veterans Network group, and the network again just focuses on four main initiatives: mental wellness, movement, Operation 1620, and Project Triangle. So it's definitely a great program. I started following them on Instagram back in 2016. And I thought, man, this is a really cool group that I could see myself being part of, because as veterans or as military, anybody in the military, when you're in the service, you essentially have a purpose to what to do. They give you these directions, and you have this mission derivative to where what you've got to do. You're mission focused, and then when you get out of the military, that mission goes away, and that brotherhood, camaraderie, just kind of everything just kind of goes to the wayside, I feel anyways. Trying to adjust to being a civilian and civilian life, and try to speak civilian terminology without offending people. Sure. There's a lot of things. So when I followed into Balance Veterans, I found out that, man, these guys are about a lot of things. They're about brotherhood, they're about helping their community, helping veterans and their families. I felt that this is the kind of mission that I could get behind and that I could focus myself on. So yeah, I'm happy to be part of the Balance Veterans Network and down in Florida now. So yeah, just like I said, happy to be here.
Awesome. And I definitely want to get more into the work that you are doing, especially here in Florida. But the show is my first time, Josh. So
yes, sorry.
First, we want to hear about your first time story.
Oh man, let's see. My first time ever getting high was actually with my sister and my uncle.
Okay.
This is early 90s. So, ditchweed back then was primo stuff though.
Sure.
And my uncle actually, he used to grow it. He grew it, in the black market for quite a while. And I used to go on bike rides with him. This is before I ever smoked weed ever. And I would go on these bike rides with him so he could, tend to his plants, is what he called it. So we would drive out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm from Wisconsin. So cornfields, hay fields, kind of everything in the country. That's really all you see. Well, he would grow along like the cornfield edges right by cemeteries where he knew nobody went to. This guy had a process. So when I first ever smoked weed, my first time was with him and my sister. We were sitting at our house, or at my parents' house, and my parents were gone for the weekend, and my sister was like, "You should try it." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll try it. Let's give it a try." And man, the rest is history.
Was it a joint? Was it a bowl? How'd you smoke it?
It was I actually smoked out of a soda can because we didn't have a pipe.
Okay.
We didn't want our parents. My sister didn't want her parents to know that she smoked, and my uncle obviously didn't want to be a bad influence. So yeah, so we smoked, and I got. They say that you don't get high your first time. I remember actually getting so dizzy that I just sat back, and every time my uncle and my sister would laugh, the room would echo. So I was just like the room was spinning. I couldn't really seem to kind of get a hold of myself. So it was definitely a different experience. I was like, wow, this is way better than alcohol.
Awesome. Now, before you went into the military, and before I forget, thank you for your service. Before you went into the military, were you still consuming, or was it not until after the military that you got back in?
I actually signed my best friend's yearbook in high school, PSFL, Pot Smokers for Life.
Nice. I like that. I love it.
It's hilarious because every time he lives in Tennessee now, so every time I go visit him, we're always like, we just kind of reminisce about the days of getting super ripped and going to class.
Nice.
Yeah.
I gotta find my yearbook, and mine it says it's from a Redman song. If your buds are green and your beats are mean, I'll be that. So
hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Sure, my parents are proud of that one. So yeah, you started off first. Let me ask, Josh, what you smoking on?
Well, second year. Oh, I remember my first time. So what I'm smoking on is called Point Break. The flavor punch of this strain that I'm smoking is it's like the easiest way to probably explain it is it feels like somebody's cleaning my mouth.
Okay.
Like it's got it's the terpenes, it's got limonene, it's got what were the other one? I can't remember. There were 3 other terpenes. There's one with a pepper, and then one that's going to help your focus. And the flavor of this is almost like grapefruit, really I don't know. It's like if I were to take a grapefruit and Mr. Clean Lemon Pledge kind of all together and put it all in a strain, but make it almost kind of sweet. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it smacks me right in the face, and it's a really good high. So I enjoy it. I mean, not gonna lie, I didn't buy it from dispensary. I bought it from outside of a dispensary because this is by far better than anything a dispensary can get. So at least in Florida, anyways. Michigan and California are the 2 best places to get weed, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
I don't know any other place that's got better weed than Michigan or California.
I heard Arizona's on the scene. I don't know how they compare, but they're certainly starting to do their thing there for sure.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. I'm happy that every state just continuously getting into that process of legalization and ending prohibition, which is huge.
Yes, for sure. And veterans like yourself are a big part of that because for years, obviously, any cannabis user knows what it does to their body, how it makes them feel better. And so whether it's PTSD or, being injured in a war or overseas, cannabis is certainly something that can help a veteran. Can you talk a little bit more about, I know you briefly mentioned it, but you got off opiates through cannabis, and what was it that you were on opiates for in the first place?
Well, I have degenerative disc disease, spinal arthritis. I have a traumatic brain injury, so I also suffer from PTSD, anxiety, depression, kind of a whirlwind of everything. So, when I came home from Iraq, my brain wasn't, where I wanted it to be. I just didn't feel normal, obviously, and my family members and everybody told me, like, dude, you're not the same person. Like, who are you? When I came home. So it was like I went to the doctor, and when I was actually still in when I came, when I came home, and when I went to sick call, just explaining to them how I felt, and they're like, all right, yeah, you got depression, you've got some issues going on, so they basically prescribed me with pills, and I had pain meds. I don't remember the terminology of all of them because, again, brain injury. So when people are like, "Oh, what were they? Were they like?" People be like, "Oh, is it a olanzapine or all these different ones?" And I'm like, "I don't know. The shit just got me feeling like a zombie. That's all I know." So I essentially became kind of a dependent. I got out of the military, and I didn't really have the money to, I was just hopping job to job. I didn't necessarily make good choices when I got out, because I think I was just, my mentality of I just want to drink, I want to party, I just want to get whatever's in my head, I want it to go away. So I looked at alternative ways, and the alternative way was, looking at pills through friends that had, pain meds, or they had some depressants or something that's going to help me sleep. What I really became addicted to though was Adderall. I was taking it to the point where if you're familiar with Adderall, what it does, I mean, it's basically you're missing a few components in Adderall to make it legalize meth. I mean, it's what it is. So I mean, I was taking like a 30 XR as an extended release capsule, and I was taking 3 of those like a day, which you're only supposed to take like one.
Yeah.
I would take one during the day, and then when I was getting ready to go out to either DJ or party with some friends, I would break the capsule open, throw it up my nose, and then eat the other one. Just so I had I got the instant effect, and then I've got that, when I got to the club and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I want to go to the after bar, I've got my afterburner basically kicking in. So just that didn't make good decisions. It led to severe alcoholism because when I'm taking Adderall, when I took Adderall, I didn't feel drunk. I would drink so much alcohol. Like I just would party my ass off. It was like, and then one night I smoked, and I hadn't smoked weed in a long time by this time. So from basically the time I got out of high school, when I joined the military, well, actually I joined in 1996, until 2004 I was in. And then 2008, I moved back to Wisconsin from Texas. And for the first time ever, I smoked weed in 2008 since high school. And it put me in a state to where my anxiety, like it threw me crazy through the loop. And I'm like, no, this is not, what I want to do. So when, again, just becoming addicted to opiates and whatnot, I didn't like this lifestyle. I was more or less in denial. I still hadn't gone to the VA. My friends were telling me, dude, go to the VA, get some help before it's too late. Do this, do this, do this. And I'm like, no, because when I was in the Army, that's all they would do is prescribe me shit. That's all they're going to want to do as soon as I get there. And it took a lot of convincing for my friends to be like, dude, you've got an issue, go get help. So I went and started, signed up with the VA, enrolled in the process, wanted to know about, what I can do to help with my just all these things in my head that I couldn't get rid of because alcohol didn't do it, and all the, this other thing. So in 2016, about the same time that I re-enrolled or enrolled with the VA and started kind of seeking help, was the same time that a buddy of mine actually reached out to me and was like, "Hey man, you should come out to Colorado and come out here and blaze. Let's smoke, let's hang out." So I went out, visited a buddy of mine. He drove me to Estes Park. I ended up drinking 200 milligrams worth of Punch. Did not know the effects of that until I literally had to record the journey all the way to Estes Park because I was so fucking high. I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, this is lit. I'm like, whoa. And somewhere between completely getting fucking annihilated and taking that drink, I felt normal. So it was like I don't know. I just kind of, something kind of clicked in me, and I was like, man, this is, you know, weed is still legal in Wisconsin where I'm from. This is something that I don't want to take a chance because, I don't want to get arrested, so on and so forth. So I more or less kind of kept it under hush hush that I smoked. Um, and yeah, um, like I said, when I started smoking weed and started using cannabis on a regular basis, a lot of things started changing for me. I ended up getting 2 degrees in college. I went back to school, got a degree in horticulture because I loved the plant. I loved smoking weed so much that I wanted to learn about it. Like I wanted to know the components, all the different, what all these different effects are. So I really took it to, I'm putting my mind into this. And that was the same time that I, again, came across Balanced Veterans Network. So it was kind of 2016 is kind of a turning point for me, for the good. So, like I said, I now have I have a 5-year-old daughter, married. Yeah, I got a degree. It's a lot of good things that came about it. People always talk about, oh, stoners or nothing. That's all they do is smoke weed and, and fucking eat Cheetos and play video games all day long. Not the case. I really want to beat that stigma to the fucking ground because I'm probably the most functional stoner anybody's ever met. I mean, this is how I function. I get around, I stretch, I do a lot of different things, but cannabis really helps. So, sorry to go on a whole tangent there.
No, that was awesome. That was awesome. So thank you for sharing that. Hey, everybody, I want to quickly mention food forest abundance. Food forest abundance is a great way to create your own self-sustaining food forest and naturally occurring ecosystem that's commonly found in nature, but designed specifically for you. Through multiple layers of trees, shrubs, herbs, vines, rhizomes, mushrooms, and perennial vegetables, you can become your own supply chain without the typical maintenance required of a garden. From small spaces to large areas, both urban and suburban, Food Forest Abundance wants us to get back to our roots in nature by engaging with our food production in a meaningful way. For more information, click on the link in the description below and start your journey today. Okay, let's get back to today's episode. So let's talk about the Balanced Veterans Network. When did you, you said you first saw them on Instagram in 2016. How did you come to be an ambassador and end up here in Florida?
Well, my second job, or like my job on the side, I work in sales. So one of the things that you learn in sales is persistence, being persistent at what you do. So I literally, when I moved to Florida, like I told myself, I really want to be part of these guys. What can I do to be part of these guys? But I knew that living in Wisconsin, I wasn't going to be able to do shit. The only thing that I would really be able to push would be CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9, THCP, all the other cannabinoids. But I don't want to just be limited to that. I wanted to be able to push the whole plant on, and educate people on the whole plant, not just little bits here and there because daddy government's like, oh, it's bad, So when my wife and I decided to move to Florida, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to break into Balanced Veterans Network and become part of them, and because I'm very passionate about again, cannabis. I'm so passionate about it. Like my wife hates hearing about it. Like I'm constantly talking about it. In fact, my neighbor even told me the other day, he's like, man, you've taught me so much about weed. He's like, I didn't know about all these terpenes and all this stuff. He's like, I just thought it tasted good. He's like, when you tell me this is cherry punch and you take a hit of it and you're like, did you taste the cherry notes? He's like, it takes me a second. But then I'm like, well, yeah, I just tasted the cherry notes in it. And I tell him how he's going to feel. And within 20 minutes, he's like, holy shit, I feel exactly how you say. So it's really cool to be able to educate people on that level when you're passionate about a plant and being able to be down here. So when I broke into Balanced Veterans, I was literally like messaging them probably every day, every other day, like, who can I talk to? Because there are so many veterans down here in Florida that need help. It's sickening. Like when I called the Deltona VA for one place, when I called the Deltona VA and or the not the VA, the Veterans Outreach Center in Deltona, I was like, hey, I'm a new veteran. I'm moving to Florida. This is just before I moved out. It's like, I'm moving to Florida. I'm a new veteran and I really want to get established and sign up. We're house hunting. And the woman on the phone was just kind of like, well, there's 4 other homeless veterans sitting in the parking lot right now. And I'm thinking to myself, and you're okay with that? Like the way she kind of brought that up was just like, it was just like a normal day. And I thought, how are people okay with that? How are, like people want to talk about, I support veterans. I support, I apologize, my kid running in the back.
That's okay.
People always talk about, I want to support veterans. What can I do to support veterans? Well, people can talk about it all day long, but one of the things we say in the military is don't talk about it, be about it. Like, I don't mean to come across as an asshole or arrogant, but like, so many people are like, oh, we really support you. We really support you. But that's all you're saying is we really support you. If you really supported us, then you would actually try to make a difference in the community by educating people on, the mental illnesses that veterans deal with. I mean, there's average 22 soldiers, sailors, veterans, current service members that take their life on a daily basis, because they feel that they're empty. And that's the wrong answer. I think that the VA could do a better job. And I think that what they do isn't very good. So I'm happy to be part of a group that is educating people the way it should be educated, because Western medicine has failed us. I mean, it's horrible, because it's all it does is create addiction, homelessness, broken families. It doesn't cure anything. So being part of this is, like I said, it's great, because not only do you have the cannabis side of it, you also have the mental wellness. So we have small virtual groups that connect, talk about nutrition, we have meditation groups that we do via Zoom. So just so much good therapy there that really helps you out. And learning about yoga, being able to stretch, and this is stuff that the VA doesn't teach you. They're just like, they'll be like, we're gonna prescribe you with these Percocets, and you're gonna go to physical therapy, and we're gonna strain you out and stress you because you're around a bunch of people you don't know. We don't understand you have a mental illness, but you're gonna have to hold on to that so that way you can go get stretches and stuff. It's not something that, I guess myself as a veteran, I don't want to go into a hospital, have to put a stupid fucking mask on to, for them to tell me, your back is getting worse. Like, no shit, I already know it's getting worse. So why don't you guys do something about it? But so it's just being able to be part of a group that educates, creates a safe space, really just kind of being there for veterans and making a difference. That's the whole reason why I wanted to join Balanced Veteran, the network, and becoming, again, part of an ambassador and making a difference in Florida and helping these veterans is like my mission focus is that.
No, it's great. We see your page. You're active at a lot of different events, speaking to many different individuals. So you're certainly walking the walk and doing what you can.
I try, if it were up to me, I would, if it really up to me and I had all the money in the world, I would buy 40 acres down here in Florida. I would put tiny houses on there, and I would house homeless veterans and teach them ways of the plants, because horticulture is amazing, for one. I'm sorry to say it. Plants, it's part of nature, being able to be grounded, being able to, bring a plant from this tiny seed to just this beautiful flower. That's something that we consume. That's awesome. I mean, and it's something that will make, veterans feel normal, not only with the 1620, but, with psilocybin and Project Triangle, that's the other big thing. So that's, again, medicines, proper safe usage, education on, kind of, dabbling with, mushrooms and understanding microdoses and how it helps suppression. So it's just the mental wellness part of it too. Online peer support community we have in our network, like I said, there's so much about it. Being able to connect with other veterans is just great.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate all the hard work you're doing, you as well as the Balanced Veterans Network. And veterans are a huge part in getting legalization passed, because, you can say you don't like this group or you don't like that group, and not that that's right, but I mean, who wants to say I don't support veterans, right? That's like one of the lowest, the lowest of the low. So that's almost like, I think, one of the easiest ways to get these politicians or policymakers in generals to come around to it is your testimonials.
Unfortunately, we don't have the money to back that testimonial though, because that's really what it is. I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on, but I'm going to say, our government is so fucking corrupt. They don't care about us. They don't. All we are is a vote and a number. That's it. I mean, you watch politicians and how they swing. I mean, it's crazy. What was the politician in Florida that was trying to run? Charlie Crist. He switched how many different, from Republican to Democrat to independent. It's like, it shouldn't matter who you are. You should fight for one cause, and the cause is legalization. Just
Right.
ending prohibition, be done with it. Just because politicians didn't like it in the beginning, they decide they want to make it illegal because it's bad. And then, it's just all these stigmas that we just need to break. And education is huge, especially with the VA, because the VA actually, if you smoke weed and you're part of the VA actually labels us as a what the hell was it? A cannabis cannabis abuser. It's basically calling us drug users and abusers. Is what it's basically calling us, because it's still a Schedule I.
Yeah. Terrible. Josh, we only got a couple minutes left, but I did want to bring up, I saw a picture on your Instagram about a baby squirrel.
Yeah.
Is that a pet?
So Hurricane Ian came. So my wife and I, obviously, when we sold our house, we bought a fifth wheel. We're home searching right now. So we're living in our 2-bedroom fifth wheel. It's kind of nice. It's really stress-free because I don't have to worry about mowing grass, and the campground take care of all that stuff. Sure. It's great, but we didn't want to stay in our camper during the hurricane, so we went and got an Airbnb in Orange City, and ended up connecting with another veteran there who owned the house, who's in the Marines, and it was great to talk with him. But anyways, we got there on Wednesday night, and the storm was whipping through pretty heavily, and I was sitting out back actually smoking a joint, and I heard a branch crack, the tree basically fall and crack in half and fall over. And when it happened, I heard a bunch of squeals and screeches come out of the tree, and I'm like, oh, what the hell was that? But I'm not trying to go out there because it's windy. So latest to the next morning, I walked out where I could see, and there were a couple of baby, tiny, barely any hair on them squirrels who just kind of crawling around in the grass. And one of them, unfortunately, was not alive when I found them. So I was able to get one of them, brought it inside. Didn't really know what to do. We didn't have a heating pad and anything. So I put it underneath my shirt, let her sit on my chest until it got warm. We didn't know what to even feed it, anything. Internet was out, power was out, and everything by then. So we're just like, all right, well, we got some milk. Let's just give it some milk. And we gave it some cow's milk, but apparently we found out later on that that's deadly. But she drank it. But now she's 11, 12 weeks old. She's alive, and I've started the slow release of her. On Monday, I started the slow release. So basically, I bring her cage out. She's got a pretty large enclosure. I put outside. Then I open up the enclosure and let her come and go. And then in the evening, I put it back in the house. But she'll continue to go in and out of it until she decides that she doesn't want to be there, and then she's off in nature. But I didn't want to keep a squirrel in captivity that's perfectly healthy. So I mean, if she would have had a broken leg or something would have injured her, then yeah, absolutely. But I'm just, it's a blessing to be able to take care of such a tiny creature and be part of nature and just kind of learn about them. I taught me a lot actually about that. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, great stuff. Josh, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. Please tell everybody where they can follow you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, follow me on Instagram, Disgruntled Vet 1620, or my other Instagram, which is DJ Styles STYLZ 920. So thank you again so much for having me.
You're welcome. And if you like great content like this, make sure you go down and leave a comment for Josh. What do you think of some of his trials and tribulations, his stories, incredible testimony? And make sure you're also subscribed to Dro TV here on YouTube, because you don't want to miss great guests like Josh and stories and interviews like this one. So we appreciate everybody tuning in today. Thank you again, Josh, for coming on the show. And as always, smoke them if you got them.
Absolutely.
What's up, Dro TV family? You can now stream the audio version of all these episodes on your favorite podcast player. And if you like more episodes like this, check out this playlist we put together over here for you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. You don't want to miss more great content from Dro TV. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, smoke them if you got them.